Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Carl. I'm your host, as always, Carl Zoellner, one of the attorneys with Anderson Business Advisors. And today I want to talk a little bit about the cost of setting up entities and the cost to maintain entities. One of the most common questions from clients, and I think most of them that ask are probably think they're asking some unique question or some question we're not used to hearing. But I wanted to touch on a few things. So, number one is if you have more than a few entities that need to be set up. What is the initial cost to expect? My personal perspective is that I would expect if I've got three or more rental properties to be expecting to probably end up in the, I don't know, about $10,000 range or just less for the most part. Ultimately, I've seen entities created in places like California for like $13,000, which are kind of crazy, and they didn't have all the good bells and whistles that Anderson puts in the operating agreement. What I would say is that the value or basically the biggest expense associated with the business entities are the internal documentation that we draft individually for each client. So ultimately, it's expensive because it takes time, and time is billed by attorneys. So we want to make sure that that's official, sort of efficiently used within your own entity structure. But yeah, I would say if you've got more than three or four rental properties, then expect to be right around the $10,000 range. Now, to get everything set up. Now, your initial setup cost is not going to be your annual cost. So, cost of renewals are fractional, and we try to save money where we can on those. In that, ultimately, like I say, for Wyoming, there may be $100 registration fee on the initial setup, but then it goes to $62 a year thereafter. So, something to do there. I've done the math on a few clients, and what I would say is in most cases to renew or to maintain on an annual basis after the initial setup cost. So after that initial, I think I just used the round number of about $10,000. It usually costs about, I don't know, think about 5% as a annual renewal cost, and that's mostly just like I say, state-based fees to maintain those business entities. So something worth mentioning there. I know it's a concern. I know it's not free. I know everybody sort of wants the cheapest and freest thing in a lot of times, but when it comes to your tax and asset protection and your estate planning and how you put all those things together, it's crucial to use professionals to do it. Number one. Number two is if you DIY it and screw it up, then it's all on you when you screw it up. But the problem is you won't know until you're being sued. So we want to do things the right way. Build from a firm foundation is something I talk about quite frequently. Like I have another video here we just did that talks about where would I start. I would still start with a living trust and the Wyoming Holding Company and build from there. Just ultimately, because like I said, we want to build from a firm foundation. But I did want to talk a little bit about the cost. And like I said, the sort of annual upkeep is a fraction of what the initial setup is. Also, I'll mention for those who get a little squeamish during the setup, be patient. Ultimately, there may be some hiccups along the way on the initial setup, but once the things are set up, it is mostly set it and forget it. And the stuff that's not, we have plenty of videos on and how-tos and DIYs if you need to do help with meetings and things like that. Also, we help provide those for our clients as well. So for those of you shopping around or looking for somebody to give you some advice, please don't hesitate to take a free consultation with one of our senior strategists or advisors, and we will help tell you what's the best practice for you. And if for some reason the best practice doesn't work for you, we can scale down from there. But we traditionally will start with the best practice and then go down versus starting at a lower and making the assumption that you don't want the full measure of protection. So, as always, please continue to take advantage of all of our free content out there. Like, subscribe, share, and that goes for all the Anderson channels. There's lots of great content out there right now, but we continue to put it out because y'all continue to request it. So keep taking advantage and watching the videos, and we'll keep creating the content. So until next time, thanks everyone, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Coffee with Carl.